Hello everyone and welcome to my September wrap up. I know this video is a day late, but yesterday I was pretty much all over the place. I still had books to finish, I still had reviews to write, and there just wasn't enough hours in the day for me to be able to get everything finished and sorted and film and upload a video. So I thought I would just give myself a break. I would use that time yesterday to get everything finished and sorted, and then I would film and upload this wrap up the day after on Saturday. So that is what I am doing. Hopefully by me doing that, putting myself under a bit of pressure by saying this will be a better video than the one that you would have got yesterday had I decided to somehow throw everything together. So yeah, so in this wrap up I have 8 books to talk about. 1 of them I gave 3 stars to, 4 of them I gave 4 stars to, and 3 of them I gave 5 stars to. So it has been a pretty good reading month overall. So I'm going to start off with the book that I gave 3 stars to, and that is My Side of the Diamond by Sally Gardner. I did write a full review of this on my blog, so I will leave a link to that review in the description down below. I don't really know which genre to put this in. I'd say it's probably more sci-fi mystery than anything else. The back of this book talks about a situation where a young girl jumps off the top of a tall building, in this case the Shard in London, and instead of landing she just disappears. And that concept in itself was really interesting to me, and although that does happen in the book, that's not mostly what it's about. It was just very complicated. There was a lot more to it than that, and it was just very strange. There were a lot of characters in it, and I was a little bit confused at times between who was who, because I kind of forgot names and stuff like that. And it's only a short read as well, so they weren't terribly well developed characters. I did like the whole message that love is something you can't create or replicate. It's something organic and natural that happens to human beings. I really loved that. But apart from that, it was just very odd. If you are still more interested in it, obviously give my review a read. So yeah. Now on to the books that I gave 4 stars to this month. So one of those was Copycat by Alex Lake. This is an adult psychological thriller book. I did write a full review of this on my blog as well, so of course I will leave a link to that review in the description down below. This is about a woman who finds a fake Facebook profile of herself, and this profile seems to have private pictures of her family and from inside her house and stuff like that, and whoever's behind this profile seems to know exactly where she is and what she's doing all the time. So she obviously gets really creeped out by this, and she starts to delve into who could be doing this, and we do get short little creepy chapters from the perpetrator themselves, and that was really good fun. I really liked that because I was constantly looking in those chapters for clues and motives in all of the side characters as to who it could be. And the perpetrator seems to want her to find this Facebook profile because it really is just the start of this very terrifying, creepy stalker campaign against this woman, and it was so good. I had no idea what was going on, and that's quite unusual for a psychological thriller because I read so much of them. I kind of feel like maybe I've got a little bit too good at reading them now, because with a lot of them I can sort of work out maybe halfway through most of what's going to happen at the end. Not the case with Copycat at all. I didn't see the ending coming, so if you are looking for a psychological thriller that I don't think you will be able to fully figure out before the end, I definitely recommend a Copycat. Another book that I gave 4 stars to this month is The Someone Inside Your House by Stephanie Perkins. This was one of my most anticipated releases of this year, as I think it was for a lot of people. I did write a full review of this on my blog as well, so of course I will leave a link to that review in the description down below. It's got a lot of mixed reviews. Basically, the basic premise is that we're following a group of students at a high school where several students are being brutally murdered, and our main character and her 2 best friends and her love interest are trying to figure out who could be behind this, connections between the victims and stuff like that. This is the most romance heavy slasher horror story I've ever read. So if you go into this as a pure horror fan and expecting blood on every page, you're going to be disappointed by this book. But I think also if you go into it as mostly a fluffy contemporary romance lover, I think it might be a little bit too much for you because the murders are definitely very brutal, very graphic. So I think it's definitely for people who love both blood and fluff, and you guys will know I love both blood and fluff, so it definitely was for me. I would have probably wanted a little bit more murder than there was, and now that I know that Stephanie Perkins can do dark bloody murder stuff, I'd definitely like to see more of that from her, because it was very romance heavy. But that's what Stephanie Perkins is good at writing. She's good at writing awkward teenage romance, and there was a lot of that in this. I would have definitely preferred some more blood though, so yeah, I'd definitely like her to go a little bit further if she ever does another book like this. So yeah, maybe give my review a read if you are more interested in it. Another book that I gave 4 stars to this month is Spellbook of the Lost and Found by Moira Fowley Doyle. In this we are following a group of teenagers who seem to have lost things. They keep losing things like material things, and one of them finds a notebook with a spell in it that claims to be able to find lost things. So they cast this spell, obviously in the hope of finding their lost things, but it actually uncovers a secret from the past and obviously how this spellbook was created. And it's actually set across 2 time periods, and it was really lovely how that came about. It was very, very magical, some lovely, memorable characters, some gorgeous romances in there as well. It was a very lovely, fluffy, magical, contemporary romance that was very suitable for autumn. So if you are looking for a magical, romantic book this season, I would definitely recommend Spellbook of the Lost and Found. So yeah. Another book that I gave 4 stars to this month is The Disappearances by Emily Bain Murphy. I didn't know that this had a historical slant to it. It's actually set in the 1940s, and I didn't know that going into it, and I really liked that. It was a really nice little surprise because I do like reading sort of mysterious historical fiction from time to time. So basically this is set in a town where every 7 years something intangential goes missing. So it's something like dreams or reflections, and nobody really knows why. And these 2 siblings, a brother and a sister, are sent to live in this town because their mother grew up there. Their mother has died and their father has to go away, and they are sent to live with their mother's childhood best friend. And obviously they learn about the disappearances, and they start to investigate the mystery behind them. Our main character finds a complete collection of Shakespeare that used to belong to her mother, and her mother has annotated it, and her mother seems to have been trying to solve the mystery as well. They learn that their mother was actually one of the prime suspects behind these disappearances because she seems to have been immune to them. There was just so much going on, some lovely friendships, some lovely romances, beautifully written, really lovely written book. Yes, it's just really magical, really mysterious, absolutely gorgeous cover as you can see, and the story inside is definitely just as beautiful. Now on to the books that I gave 5 stars to this month. So one of those was Wonder Woman Warbringer by Leigh Bardugo. You guys know that I love Wonder Woman. You guys know that I was so excited about this book coming out, and I was not disappointed at all. So basically, obviously we're following Diana, and she is an Amazon. She's living on an island also full of Amazons, and at the start of this book she is taking part in a running race, and during the race she hears screams coming from the beach, and she knows that she's supposed to just focus on the race. She's not supposed to be distracted by anything, but she can't help it, and she goes down to investigate these screams, and she ends up saving this girl who is drowning in the ocean. She brings the girl up to the island. This girl turns out to be Alia, and Alia is apparently a war bringer, and by bringing Alia onto the island, Diana has brought bad stuff like war and disease onto the island, and she learns through the oracle that she has to get Alia to Greece, to the final resting place of Helen of Troy, in order to cure Alia of her warbringer status. It was just so action-packed. It was really funny in places as well, because obviously Diana isn't used to any other society outside the Amazon society, so there was a lot about normal human society that she just didn't understand, and those points were really, really funny. There were hints of romance, but there wasn't any strong romance in it, and I really, really loved that because it just focused on, you know, getting stuff done and friendships and stuff like that, and it was just really, really good. It was a really fast-paced, action-packed YA Wonder Woman story, so yeah. The next book that I gave 5 stars to this month is Tower of Dawn by Sarah J Maas. This is the 6th book in the Throne of Glass series. I love this series, as you know. I much prefer the earlier books, and this definitely harked back to those earlier books, and I finally got my Chaol back, which I was so happy about because Chaol was completely absent from the last book, Empire of Storms, and I really, really missed him. So having him back was so, so lovely. I met loads of new characters in this book as well, and I actually got rid of my Selena Chaol ship because of the events of this book. Obviously, I can't talk too much more about it because I don't want to spoil it for anyone. But it was so, so good. If you are a fan of Throne of Glass, certainly if you prefer the earlier books in the series, definitely pick this up. So, yeah. And the last book that I read this month, and I also gave 5 stars to, is Nixie ER by Scott Ryan Jen. I did write a full review of this on my blog as well, so I will leave a link to that review in the description down below. I loved it. It is the first in a new YA sci-fi trilogy, and I cannot wait to see where it's going to go. Basically, it is the Hunger Games in space. 10 recruits who all come from very troubled, problematic backgrounds are recruited by the space corporation to join this spaceship on its way to a distant planet where they can mine the most valuable substance in the world, Nixie ER. And basically only 8 of them will get the chance to be able to mine Nixie ER, and to prove their worth to be able to do this, they have to take part in a Hunger Games style competition. But it was so good. I was so addicted to who was going to win. There were lots of twists, some lovely memorable characters as well, which I really loved. So yeah, give my review a read if you are more interested, but I'm really excited to see where this trilogy is going to go. So yeah, a great exciting YA sci-fi debut. And that is it for my September wrap up. What books did you read this month? Please let me know. I will leave all of my social media in the description down below. I hope you're having an awesome day, and I will see you very soon for another video. Bye bye.